What if I told you that the most disturbing game ever discovered on the deep web, a game filled with distorted corridors, backward audio, and images so horrifying they were immediately scrubbed from every surface-level platform, what if that game was just traced back to a real human being, and an active, sealed criminal investigation? This is not creepypasta. This is not an ARG. And as of 2024, the people involved may finally be running out of places to hide. Let's go back. Back to 2015. Back to the moment this entire nightmare began. On June 25, 2015, a small YouTube channel called Obscure Horror Corner uploaded a video. The channel was run by a man who went by the name Jamie, and at the time, he had a modest following. Maybe a few hundred subscribers. The kind of channel that reviewed niche indie horror games, the weirder the better. But this upload was different. The title was simple. Sad Satan. And the description claimed something extraordinary. Jamie said he had found this game on the deep web. Specifically, he said a subscriber had sent him a link through Tor, the anonymous browsing network most commonly associated with hidden services, encrypted marketplaces, and the parts of the internet that don't want to be found. Jamie claimed he downloaded the game from that link, played it, recorded the footage, and uploaded it for his audience. The video showed a first-person perspective of a character walking through an endless series of dark, monochromatic hallways. The corridors were gray. The lighting was non-existent in some places and blinding in others. There was no objective. No enemies. No score. No HUD. Just walking. And sound. Sound that was deeply, immediately wrong. The audio playing throughout the game consisted of distorted, reversed recordings. And when people started analyzing those recordings, slowing them down, reversing them, running them through audio software, they found that the source material included a speech by John F. Kennedy, a recording attributed to an interview about satanic ritual abuse from the 1980s, and what appeared to be a slowed-down excerpt from the song, Stairway to Heaven, by Led Zeppelin, which itself has a long urban legend history involving supposed backward satanic messages. The game also featured intermittent flashes of images. In the version Jamie showed, these images were disturbing but not outright illegal. They included photos of historical figures associated with extreme violence and depravity, including Jimmy Savile, the now-deceased BBC television presenter who was revealed after his death in 2011 to have been one of the most prolific sexual predators in British history, and Tsutomu Miyazaki, the Japanese serial killer known as the Otaku Murderer, who abducted and murdered 4 young girls in the late 1980s. Now, here is where the story forks. And where the real darkness begins. After the video went viral, people wanted to play the game themselves. They wanted to find the original Tor link. They wanted the source files. And Jamie, the creator of Obscure Horror Corner, could not, or would not, provide the original Onion link. He said it no longer worked. He said the page had been taken down. He offered no archive, no screenshot of the original listing, no verifiable proof of where he had actually obtained the game. But he did release a clean version of the files for people to download and play themselves. And then someone else released a different version. This second version, which circulated on boards like 4chan and various file-sharing platforms, contained everything that the clean version had plus something far worse. It contained actual illegal images. Child sexual abuse material. Images so extreme that merely possessing the files constituted a serious criminal offense in virtually every jurisdiction on the planet. Multiple people who downloaded this version, not knowing what it contained, reported immediately contacting law enforcement. Others deleted the files in a panic. The version spread for a brief window before platforms began aggressively removing it. And this raised a question that has haunted this story for nearly a decade. Did the original game, the real Sad Satan from the deep web, contain that material from the beginning? Was the illegal version the actual original, and Jamie's upload a sanitized version he cleaned up to show on YouTube? Or was the illegal version created after the fact by someone else entirely, someone who took the concept and weaponized it, using the game's viral notoriety as a distribution mechanism for criminal content. Jamie insisted the version he played never contained illegal images. He said the version with that material was not the original. He said someone else had created it. But his inability to provide the original source link, combined with certain inconsistencies in his story that we will get to shortly, meant that this denial existed in a permanent cloud of doubt. For years, this is where the story sat. An infamous deep web game. A horror curiosity. An open question about its true origins and contents. Researchers and internet historians would revisit it periodically, but no one could ever definitively trace where Sad Satan actually came from. The game existed in a kind of limbo, too disturbing to be dismissed, too murky to be fully understood. Until 2024. In February of 2024, a cybersecurity researcher operating under the handle C0dex_null published a forensic analysis on a well-known InfoSec blog. The post was technical, methodical, and devastating. What C0dex_null had done was obtain an archived copy of the original game files, not the later, clean, version Jamie distributed, and not the weaponized illegal version that circulated on 4chan, but a set of files that had been preserved in 2015 by an unnamed security researcher who had downloaded them before the original distribution channels went dark. These files had sat on an encrypted drive for nearly 9 years, essentially untouched. C0dex_null performed a full metadata analysis on these files. And the findings were extraordinary. First, the file creation timestamps. The game's executable and its associated asset files carried creation dates that placed their assembly in a narrow window between late April and mid-May of 2015, roughly 6 weeks before Jamie's first video went live. The modification timestamps were consistent, showing no evidence of post-creation tampering within that original file set. This meant the game was built in a compressed, deliberate timeframe. Someone sat down and made this in about 3 to 4 weeks. Second, the development environment. The game was built using Terror Engine, a modified version of a publicly available game development framework. But the specific build of Terror Engine used carried a signature. C0dex_null identified a unique compiler string embedded in the executable, a kind of digital fingerprint left by the software used to compile the code. That compiler string matched a specific version of a development tool that was distributed through a very small number of European software repositories. It had been downloaded fewer than 800 times total. Third, and most critically, the network metadata. Several of the game's asset files, specifically the image files that were embedded as textures to create the flashing images within the game, contained EXIF data that had not been fully stripped. EXIF data is the metadata automatically embedded in image files by cameras and software, and it can contain information about the device that created the image, the software used to edit it, GPS coordinates, timestamps, and more. Most people who distribute sensitive content know to strip EXIF data. Whoever built Sad Satan had stripped most of it. But not all. 3 of the image files contained residual metadata that, when cross-referenced with known IP geolocation databases, pointed to an IP address block registered to a commercial internet service provider operating in Manchester, England. Manchester. Not London. Not some anonymous VPN exit node in Romania. Manchester. C0dex_null was careful to note that an IP address is not a person. An IP address identifies a connection point, not a human being. But the specificity of the block, combined with the other forensic evidence, dramatically narrowed the field of possibilities. This was not a game built by some anonymous figure bouncing through 17 layers of proxy servers. This was built by someone who, at least at one point during the creation process, was connected to the internet through a commercial ISP in a specific English city. And then C0dex_null dropped the finding that sent shockwaves through every community that had ever investigated this game. Several of the embedded images, not the illegal content from the weaponized version, but images found in the original file set, images of locations and structures that appeared mundane at first glance, matched reference images contained in a law enforcement evidence database that had been partially indexed by an international cybersecurity task force. The specific investigation those images were linked to remain sealed. C0dex_null did not reveal, and likely could not reveal, the exact nature of the investigation. But the researcher indicated that the investigation was ongoing, that it involved a multi-agency task force, and that the subject matter was consistent with the themes present in Sad Satan itself. Let me say that again more plainly. Images embedded in the original Sad Satan game files were forensically linked to an active, sealed law enforcement investigation. The game wasn't just disturbing art. It may have been connected to something real. Something that law enforcement has been actively pursuing. Now we need to go back and re-examine every part of this story. Because everything looks different under this light. Let's start with Jamie and Obscure Horror Corner. There are 5 things about Jamie's account that have never been satisfactorily explained. 1. The missing Tor link. Jamie claimed a subscriber sent him the link to Sad Satan through Tor. He never provided this link publicly. He said it stopped working. He never provided a screenshot of the original page where the game was listed. In the entire history of deep web game discoveries, this is almost unprecedented. When someone finds something genuinely unusual on a hidden service, they document it. They screenshot it. They archive it. Jamie provided none of this. 2. The timing of his channel's growth. Before the Sad Satan video, Obscure Horror Corner was a tiny channel. After the video, it exploded. Jamie's subscriber count skyrocketed. He went from reviewing obscure games to being a minor internet celebrity. The Sad Satan video series became the backbone of his channel's entire identity. He had enormous incentive, whether conscious or not, to make the story as compelling as possible. 3. His selective editing. In his gameplay videos, Jamie clearly edited certain portions. He acknowledged this, saying he removed some content that was too disturbing to show. But this means viewers were entirely dependent on Jamie's description of what the game contained. No one else had the original files at that point. No one could verify his claims about what he did or did not see. 4. His geographic location. Jamie is British. The IP block in the C0dex_null analysis points to Manchester, England. Jamie's accent and the few personal details he shared online are consistent with someone from Northern England. This does not mean Jamie created the game. Millions of people live in Northern England. But it is a coincidence that demands acknowledgement. 5. His disappearance. After the Sad Satan controversy reached its peak, Jamie gradually went silent. Obscure Horror Corner stopped uploading regularly. Jamie's online presence contracted. His social media accounts went dormant. For someone who had built a growing platform off this story, the retreat was abrupt and unexplained. People reach out to him periodically. The responses, when they come at all, are terse and deflective. None of these 5 points prove anything individually. But taken together, they form a pattern of behavior that is, at minimum, deeply unusual. Now, there's a counter-argument. And it's an important one. Multiple researchers over the years have suggested that Jamie created Sad Satan himself as a publicity stunt for his channel, that there was never a deep web source, that the entire game was a fabrication designed to generate views and subscribers. Under this theory, the later illegal version was created by someone else entirely, an opportunistic predator who used the viral moment to distribute criminal material. If this theory is correct, then Jamie is guilty of fabrication and dishonesty, but not of anything more sinister. He made a weird game, lied about where it came from, and got more attention than he bargained for. When things spiraled out of control with the illegal version, he retreated from public life. This was, for years, the most commonly accepted explanation. It's clean. It's simple. It wraps the story up in a neat, if unsatisfying, bow. But C0dex_null's 2024 analysis complicates this theory enormously. Because if Sad Satan was just a publicity stunt, why are its embedded images linked to a sealed law enforcement investigation? If Jamie just grabbed random images off the internet and assembled them into a creepy game, how did he end up using images that are cataloged in a law enforcement evidence database? The probability of that happening by coincidence is not zero, but it is vanishingly small. There are, as I see it, three possible explanations. The first is that Jamie did create the game himself, but unknowingly used source images that happened to be connected to a real investigation. He downloaded images from various dark corners of the internet, assembled them without understanding their significance, and inadvertently created something with genuine evidentiary connections. This is possible but deeply unlikely. The images in question, according to C0dex_null's description, are not the kind of material you stumble across. They are specific. They are obscure. Finding them accidentally would require browsing in spaces that most people, even most dark web users, never encounter. The second explanation is that Jamie was given the game by someone who was connected to the real investigation, either directly involved or close enough to have access to related materials. Under this theory, the subscriber who supposedly sent Jamie the Tor link was real, but was not a random fan. They were someone with a specific agenda, someone who wanted this material to enter public circulation through a seemingly innocent channel. Jamie, under this scenario, was an unwitting vector. He received the game, played it, uploaded it, and had no idea what he was actually distributing or what it was connected to. The third explanation is the darkest. It is the possibility that Sad Satan was created by someone who was directly involved in whatever activity the sealed investigation concerns, and that the game was not art, not a publicity stunt, not a prank, but a communication, a signal, a taunt, or a delivery mechanism meant for a specific audience. Under this theory, the game's appearance on a Tor hidden service was not incidental. It was the point. The distorted audio, the flashing images of known predators, the disorienting corridors designed to create a sense of dread and helplessness, these were not aesthetic choices. They were functional elements of something designed to serve a very specific purpose for a very specific group of people. I want to be extremely careful here. I am not accusing any specific individual of any crime. I am presenting publicly available information and the findings of a published forensic analysis. But the third explanation aligns with something that law enforcement agencies have documented extensively: the use of custom software, games, and interactive media by criminal networks as tools for grooming, desensitization, and the encrypted distribution of illegal material. Europol, the FBI, and the UK's National Crime Agency have all published reports acknowledging that predatory networks increasingly use custom-built digital environments as part of their operations. In 2019, the Internet Watch Foundation published findings noting a significant increase in the use of gaming platforms and custom game mods as vectors for the distribution of child sexual abuse material. The methodology is sophisticated. Content is embedded within game assets, hidden within texture files, audio files, or level data. To a casual observer, the game looks like a game. To someone who knows where to look, or who has the right decryption key, the game is a container. Sad Satan, viewed through this lens, takes on an entirely different character. The walking corridors become something more than an art game aesthetic. They become a delivery structure. A slow, deliberate progression through content that escalates in intensity. The flashing images, too brief for conscious processing but long enough for subliminal impact, become something more than a horror technique. They become a desensitization tool. The reversed, distorted audio becomes not an artistic choice but an obfuscation method, a way of embedding messages or signals that require specific processing to decode. Is this interpretation speculative? Yes. But it is speculation grounded in documented criminal methodology and supported by the forensic evidence that C0dex_null published. Let me walk you through something else that the 2024 analysis revealed, something that most people who covered this story missed. C0dex_null examined the file structure of the original Sad Satan build and found something unusual in the way the game loaded its assets. Most games built on simple engines load their texture and audio assets in a linear sequence, pulling files from a designated folder in a predictable order. Sad Satan's asset loading was nonlinear. The game used a custom script to load assets in a specific, conditional sequence based on how long the player had been walking, what direction they were facing, and whether certain invisible triggers had been activated. This is not how you build a simple horror walking simulator. This is how you build a system designed to deliver specific content to a user based on their progression through the environment. More importantly, C0dex_null found that the game's asset folder contained file paths that referenced directories that did not exist in the distributed version. The game was looking for files that weren't there. This suggests one of two things. Either the version that was preserved was incomplete, missing asset files that were part of the full build, or the game was designed to connect to an external source to download additional assets that would no longer be available once the original hosting infrastructure was taken down. If the second possibility is true, then the version of Sad Satan that everyone played, the version that generated all the YouTube videos and Reddit threads and creepypasta analyses, was only a fraction of the complete experience. The full game may have contained content that no public researcher has ever seen. Content that existed briefly on a Tor hidden service and then vanished when the server was shut down. And this brings us to the sealed investigation. I want to talk about what sealed means in this context. When a law enforcement investigation is sealed, it means that the details, evidence, suspects, and often even the existence of the investigation are not part of the public record. Investigations are sealed for several reasons. Sometimes it's to protect the identities of victims. Sometimes it's to prevent suspects from being tipped off and fleeing or destroying evidence. Sometimes it's because the investigation is part of a larger operation, and revealing any part of it would compromise the whole. The fact that the investigation linked to Sad Satan's embedded images remains sealed in 2024, nearly a decade after the game's appearance, tells us something. It tells us that whatever this investigation concerns, it is not resolved. It is ongoing. The people involved have not all been identified, apprehended, or prosecuted. The operation is still active. And somewhere in the evidence files of that operation, there are images that match files embedded in a horror game that was distributed on the deep web in 2015. Let me address something that I know some of you are thinking. You're thinking, could this all be fabricated? Could C0dex_null be making this up for attention, the same way Jamie may have fabricated the original story? It's a fair question. Healthy skepticism is essential when dealing with stories like this. Here's what I can tell you. C0dex_null's forensic analysis was published on an established InfoSec platform with editorial oversight. The methodology described is consistent with standard digital forensic practices. The specific findings about the IP block and the compiler string have been independently corroborated by at least 2 other researchers who examined the same archived file set. The connection to the sealed investigation is, by its nature, harder to independently verify, because the investigation is sealed. But the claim is consistent with the way law enforcement evidence databases work, and C0dex_null's description of how the connection was identified is technically coherent. This does not mean every claim is necessarily correct. But it does mean this is not a Reddit post by an anonymous user making unverifiable claims. This is a documented forensic analysis that has withstood initial peer scrutiny. So where does this leave us? There are layers to this story, and each one peels back to reveal something more unsettling beneath. On the surface, Sad Satan is a creepy game found on the deep web. Go one layer deeper, and it's a viral mystery wrapped in questions about its creator's identity and motives. Go deeper still, and it's a potential criminal artifact, a digital object connected to real-world predatory activity and an active law enforcement operation. But there's one more layer. And it's the one that keeps me up at night. In March of 2024, about a month after C0dex_null's analysis was published, something happened on a well-known cybersecurity forum. A user with a newly created account posted a single message in a thread discussing the sad Satan findings. The message contained no text. It was a file. An audio file. The file was 47 seconds long. When played forward, it sounded like static, distorted noise with no discernible content. When reversed and slowed to half speed, it contained a male voice speaking in English. The voice said, and I am paraphrasing from the transcript that was made before the post was removed by moderators within 3 hours, the voice said, "You found the door. But you're looking at the wrong side of it." The user account that posted this file was traced by forum administrators to a VPN exit node. Behind that VPN, the connection terminated at an IP address in a block registered to the same Manchester-based ISP identified in C0dex_null's analysis. Same ISP. Same city. Same methodology. Reversed audio containing a hidden message. The exact technique used in sad Satan itself. This could be a copycat. Someone who read the analysis, noted the ISP detail, routed their connection through the same provider, and created a hoax to generate attention. That is entirely possible. The internet is full of people who do exactly this kind of thing. But it could also be something else. It could be a response. A signal that whoever created sad Satan is still active, still watching, and still using the same methods. And the message itself, "You found the door, but you're looking at the wrong side of it," suggests that whoever sent it believes the public investigation is missing something fundamental. That the game everyone has been analyzing for 9 years is not the thing that matters. That the real significance of sad Satan lies in something no one has thought to look for yet. Let me tell you about doors for a moment. In game design, and in digital security, a door has a specific metaphorical meaning. It's an access point. A way in. Or a way out. When someone tells you that you're looking at the wrong side of a door, they're saying that you think you're looking at an entrance, but you're actually looking at an exit. Or they're saying that the door doesn't lead where you think it does. What if sad Satan was never meant to be found by the general public? What if the game was designed for a specific recipient or group of recipients on a Tor hidden service, and its discovery by Jamie, whether accidental or orchestrated, was never part of the plan? What if the public version of the game, the one everyone has analyzed, is the wrong side of the door? The side that faces outward, that shows you corridors and flashing images and reversed audio? What if the other side of the door, the side that was never meant to be seen, contains something entirely different? The missing file paths that C0dex_null identified support this interpretation. The game was looking for files that weren't in the public distribution. Files that may have existed on the original server. Files that would have been accessible only to someone who knew the right Tor address and had the right credentials to access the complete version. The public-facing game may have been a shell. A wrapper. The exterior of a structure whose interior was only accessible from the inside. I know how this sounds. I know it sounds like I'm constructing a conspiracy theory out of metadata and speculation. And I want to be honest about the limits of what we know. We do not know, with certainty, who created sad Satan. We do not know, with certainty, what the sealed investigation concerns. We do not know, with certainty, that the forum post in March 2024 came from the game's creator. But we do know these things. We know that the game's files contain metadata pointing to Manchester, England. We know that the game's embedded images match evidence in an active law enforcement investigation. We know that the game's file structure references assets that were not included in any publicly distributed version. We know that a reversed audio message using the game's signature methodology was posted from an IP in the same geographic area, nearly a decade after the game first appeared. And we know that whoever is behind this has not been publicly identified or apprehended. 9 years. This story is 9 years old. And it is not over. There's one more thing I want to discuss before I bring this to a close. And it concerns the broader pattern that sad Satan may be a part of. In 2021, Europol's European Cybercrime Center published a report on the use of custom-built digital environments by organized criminal networks. The report, while heavily redacted, described a phenomenon that investigators have been tracking since approximately 2013. Criminal networks, specifically those involved in the exploitation of children, had begun commissioning custom software. Not modifying existing platforms. Building entirely new ones. These custom-built environments served multiple purposes. They functioned as distribution platforms, as communication channels, and as tools for the psychological manipulation of victims. The report described one specific case, anonymized but detailed enough to be instructive, in which a custom-built game was distributed through Tor hidden services. The game appeared to be a simple horror experience. Walking through corridors. Distorted audio. Flashing images. But embedded within the game's asset files was an encrypted payload that, when triggered by specific in-game actions, would decrypt and display illegal content. The game was designed so that a casual player would see nothing illegal. Only someone who knew the correct sequence of actions, the correct triggers, would unlock the hidden content. The report did not name Sad Satan. But the description is remarkably similar. Distorted corridors. Reversed audio. Flashing images. Asset files with hidden depths. A Tor distribution method. If Sad Satan is not the specific case described in the Europol report, then it is part of the same pattern. The same methodology. The same ecosystem. And that ecosystem, according to law enforcement, is still active. I want to bring this back to something personal. Something about why stories like this matter beyond their surface-level horror. When Sad Satan first appeared in 2015, the internet treated it as entertainment. A creepy deep web mystery. Content creators made videos about it. Reddit threads dissected it. It became lore. Part of the internet's collective mythology, filed alongside Blank Room Soup and the Wyoming incident and all the other digital artifacts that we consume as spooky entertainment. But if the 2024 forensic analysis is accurate, then Sad Satan was never entertainment. It was evidence. It was an artifact of real criminal activity, distributed to real victims and real participants, and its appearance on a YouTube channel was an accident, a glitch in a system that was designed to remain invisible. For 9 years, we treated a crime scene like a haunted house. We walked through it for thrills. We made content about it. We analyzed the reversed audio like it was a puzzle to be solved for fun. And the whole time, somewhere in Manchester or elsewhere, the people who built it were watching. Maybe laughing. Maybe nervous. Maybe still doing what they were doing when they built the game in the first place. That audio message from March 2024 echoes in my mind. You found the door. But you're looking at the wrong side of it. We have been looking at Sad Satan from the outside for 9 years. Treating it as a mystery to be solved, a story to be told, a piece of internet horror history. But on the other side of that door, there may be victims. Real people. Real children. And the door is still closed. The investigation is still sealed. The case is still open. I don't have a neat conclusion for this story. There is no resolution. There is no moment where the detective reveals the killer and justice is served. This is not that kind of story. This is the kind of story where the evidence points into darkness, and the darkness has not yet been illuminated. What I can tell you is this. The forensic analysis by C0dex_null has been shared with relevant law enforcement agencies. The archived file set is in the hands of people who have the tools and the authority to pursue its implications further than any independent researcher can. Whether that pursuit leads to arrests, to the unsealing of the investigation, or to answers that the public may eventually be allowed to see, I cannot say. What I can say is that Sad Satan is not a game. It may never have been a game. It is a digital artifact sitting at the intersection of internet horror culture and real-world criminal investigation, and after 9 years, it is more disturbing than ever. Not because of its corridors. Not because of its audio. Not because of its images. Because it might be real. All of it. And the people responsible might still be out there, watching, as we sit here discussing it like it's entertainment. So here is my question to you, and I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this. Given everything we now know, the metadata, the Manchester connection, the sealed investigation, the missing file paths, the 2024 audio message, do you believe Sad Satan was a standalone creation by a single individual, perhaps Jamie, perhaps someone who sent it to him? Or do you believe it was a product of something larger, a network, a system, something that used the game as a tool and is still operating today? And one more question, the one that I cannot stop turning over in my mind. If we have been looking at the wrong side of the door for 9 years, what is on the other side? What did the complete version of Sad Satan contain? What were those missing files? What would we have seen if we had accessed the game from the inside, from the side it was designed for, rather than the side that accidentally faced the public? What do you think really happened? Leave your theory below.